Hello and welcome to English Mindset. I'm Jessica, and if you're new here, you've just stepped into a friendly corner of the internet where English learning is simple, steady, and part of everyday life. Today, you'll practice listening through one continuous story made of many small, real moments, morning routines, little problems, relaxed walks, quick conversations, and tiny victories that add up to big progress. As you listen, try to picture each scene, echo useful phrases in your mind, and notice how ordinary actions create natural language you can use right away. We begin at dawn. John wakes at 6:30, makes the bed with smooth, practiced hands, brushes his teeth, and takes a warm shower. In the kitchen, he prepares eggs and toast and a cup of tea for himself and his wife, Maria, who likes her tea strong with a hint of honey. He checks the clock and enjoys the calm that comes from starting early. Not every day goes perfectly, of course. One Tuesday, he forgets to set the alarm and opens his eyes at 7:30. The house is too bright. He moves quickly, dresses without overthinking the color of his shirt, and cooks a simple breakfast in 10 minutes. Maria is already awake and smiling. "It's okay," she says. "We'll have a quick breakfast and go." The schedule bends, but the mood stays light. Sometimes that's the real success. Across the city, Alex writes a list: rice, vegetables, milk, bread, then walks to the supermarket where the air smells faintly of oranges. He picks crisp carrots, red tomatoes, and a bunch of spinach that still holds morning dew. He grabs milk and a small block of cheese, then stops by the bakery for warm bread. At the checkout, he suddenly remembers eggs, jogs back to grab a carton, and laughs at himself. At home, his wife, Sarah, thanks him for the groceries and teases him for the almost forgotten eggs. Together they put everything away, a quiet dance couples learn over time. Evening falls in the park where Tom likes to walk after work. He meets his friend David near a small pond and they walk side by side, talking about projects and family. "Walking helps me think clearly," Tom says. "It's better than sitting at home scrolling." David nods. They agree to meet again next week, because regular movement keeps both body and mind lighter. That night, Michael decides to cook dinner for Emma: spaghetti with fresh tomato sauce. Water boils. Garlic sizzles in olive oil. He tosses in chopped tomatoes, a pinch of salt, and a few dry herbs. The sauce simmers while the pasta softens. "Dinner is ready," he calls. They eat slowly and smile. Cooking together is fun, but cooking alone can be peaceful too, a short meditation with a delicious result. The next morning, Lisa is almost late for the bus. She ties her shoe quickly, sees the bus approaching, waves at the driver, and slips into a window seat with a relieved exhale. She texts her husband, David, on the bus. "Home at 6. With that message sent, the day feels organized. Not far away, Daniel notices the kitchen sink draining too slowly. After trying hot water and the plunger, he calls a plumber. "We wait and stay patient," he tells his wife, Anna. The plumber arrives, fixes the problem in 20 minutes, and shares a few preventive tips. Daniel and Anna feel relieved and quietly proud for solving a small issue before it grew large. Saturday is market day for James and Lucy. They wander among stalls of apples and herbs, and at a tiny table they find jars of homemade honey with handwritten labels. "Let's get one for breakfast," James says. They also buy a round loaf that smells like a warm memory. At home, they make tea and spread honey on thick slices of bread. A simple sweetness becomes a celebration after a long week. At night, Maria reads before bed 30 minutes of calm. Lately she's been studying gardening, how to prepare soil, how much sun tomatoes need, the best time to water carrots. She tells John they should try growing a small garden. He smiles at the idea of food that starts as a seed in their own hands. They plan to begin next weekend. Peter, tired of his slow kettle, compares models online, reads reviews, and finally orders a new one. When it arrives, it boils water in seconds. He and his wife, Laura, laugh at how happy they feel about saving 2 minutes every morning. Small improvements, big comfort. One week, Emma gets a mild cold sore throat, light fatigue. She schedules a doctor's visit, the nurse checks her temperature and blood pressure, and the doctor advises rest and plenty of water. The clear plan relieves her worry. At home, Michael makes soup and arranges a quiet evening. Care turns an ordinary night into something gentle. Another morning, David carries a heavy box from the car to the house and realizes halfway that it's heavier than expected. Lisa notices, walks over, and says, "Let me help." Together, they lift easily. David's "thank you" sounds deeper than the words themselves. Asking and accepting help builds trust better than doing everything alone. On Sunday, John and Maria take a short trip to the countryside. John packs sandwiches and water, Maria builds a playlist for the drive. They take photos of a narrow road between open fields, breathe the big sky, and speak softly, the way people do when stress finally lets go. Short trips can reset the mind better than any long lecture about stress. Anna decides to learn knitting. At first her hands feel all thumbs, but after a week of patient practice, the movements start to make sense. Daniel cheers her small victories. "I'll knit you a scarf," she promises. It becomes a bright little goal that turns spare minutes into progress. Michael visits his parents by train. He arrives early, checks the schedule, buys a ticket, and finds a comfortable seat by the window. As the landscape slides by, he opens a book and enjoys the rare calm that travel can bring. Emma calls to wish him a safe trip and says that traveling alone sometimes feels like meeting your own thoughts again. Soon after, Lisa and David bake a birthday cake for their daughter. Mix, stir, laugh, and wait while the kitchen fills with a sweet smell. The first slice makes her eyes light up. Their quiet teamwork turns flour and eggs into celebration. Not every moment is neat. One afternoon, James spills water on the kitchen floor. "Careful," Lucy warns. He wipes it quickly and thanks her. Small attention prevents big trouble, another quiet form of care. Busy weeks call for smart tools. Maria orders groceries with an app. Vegetables, fruit, milk, and a delivery arrives in an hour. Technology used thoughtfully returns time to the family, she says. John nods while putting the milk away. The best tools disappear into life and simply make room for better conversations. Daniel hears the neighbor's cat crying from a tree. He asks Anna to steady a small ladder while he climbs carefully and brings the frightened animal down. The neighbor's thanks is simple but sincere. Kindness still surprises people, even in a world that talks about it constantly. Most mornings, Michael does a short exercise routine: stretches, push-ups, a few minutes of yoga. Emma sometimes joins. 10 or 20 minutes is enough to set an energetic tone for the day. The practice may be brief, but the habit becomes strong. On Saturday, Lisa and David clean the living room together, vacuum, dust, windows. They talk about their week while they work. Chores feel lighter when wrapped in conversation. Anna tries a vegetable soup: carrots, potatoes, celery, slow simmer, gentle spices. Delicious, Daniel says. Trying one new recipe each week turns their home into a tiny school where taste is the teacher. After dinner, John and Maria walk through their neighborhood. At the corner, a small garden has begun to bloom. They stop to take a picture. They talk about favorite colors and old memories attached to them. Simple preferences open warm stories. Another weekend, James and Lucy host a small tea party. Sandwiches and little cakes on the table, a card game that makes everyone laugh like children. When guests leave, the apartment feels bigger, not because people are gone, but because laughter stretched the walls. Maria needs to send a package to her sister. She packs it carefully, heads to the post office, fills out the forms, and listens as the clerk explains the delivery time. On the way home, she feels lighter, as if the package carried away a bit of worry too. At a busy bakery, Lisa notices the shop assistant struggling and quietly straightens a few boxes while waiting. The assistant thanks her with a bright, surprised smile. Communities are built not by speeches, but by small helpful acts repeated forever. Weekends are also for picnics. Michael and Emma spread a blanket under a tree, eat simple food, toss a ball back and forth, and take photos that would look ordinary to strangers and priceless to them. When life feels heavy, a blanket on the grass is a solid foundation. John keeps a notebook for new English words, meaning, pronunciation, and one clear sentence for each. Maria adds examples sometimes. Daily practice doesn't just grow vocabulary, it thickens the language until it can support more complex thoughts. Daniel carries heavy grocery bags for Anna and earns a thank you spoken in a warm voice that says, "I see your effort." Some sentences never go out of style. On Sunday mornings, James and Lucy make pancakes. The first flip always brings a tiny breath hold and then laughter when it lands just right. Cooking becomes a small performance with a sweet ending. Maria borrows gardening books from the library and returns home ready to start seedlings on the windowsill. John promises to build a small shelf for the pots. A corner of their home becomes a bright laboratory of sunlight, water, patience. In the evening, Michael jogs through quiet streets. Emma joins for the final 10 minutes. Moving side by side is sometimes the best conversation. Anna bakes cookies for Daniel. When the rich smell fills the kitchen, they stand together like children, waiting. "Perfect," he says. Maybe it's not objective, but it's the right answer when someone bakes for you. On a workday, John checks the bus schedule, leaves early, and sends Maria a quick text from his seat. The ride is easy not because traffic disappears, but because good planning lowers the temperature of the day. That night, Michael cooks rice, grills chicken, tosses a salad. Emma sets the table, pours water. They eat and talk about nothing important in a way that feels important anyway. James stops at a flower shop and chooses roses for Lucy without waiting for a special occasion. She accepts them as if the day itself has decided to celebrate them. On Saturday, Daniel washes the car while Anna cleans the interior. Music plays. Shared tasks, shared satisfaction. Maria uses the grocery app again on a crowded afternoon. John says the best technology is the kind that fades into the background and quietly saves time for better moments. After homework time, Michael helps his daughter with a math problem by breaking it into small steps. "I get it now," she says. Confidence grows like a plant that finally found light. Sunday morning, Lisa and David walk in the park with their children, play simple games, take a few photos, and return home with a pleasant, useful tiredness that makes naps holy. Another morning, John makes toast, eggs, and tea for Maria and the kids. "Breakfast together keeps everyone steady," he says. Maria agrees. Some truths don't need complicated arguments. During the week, Daniel repairs a small leak at the kitchen tap while Anna holds a flashlight. When the drip stops, they share a laugh that sounds like relief. On a bright afternoon, Michael and Emma visit the market to buy fruit and nuts. "Simple snacks keep us honest about health," Emma says. Michael agrees, tasting a slice of apple from the vendor. In the evening, Anna follows a short origami tutorial and folds a small paper bird. Daniel keeps it on his desk. Handmade objects carry more care than any decoration money can buy. Lisa helps a neighbor carry bags up the stairs. The neighbor's thank you echoes through her day. Kindness has a long after sound. Later, James and Lucy cook pasta with vegetables, tasting and adjusting just a little, then eating slowly, grateful for food that feels cheerful and healthy. Soon, Michael and Emma plan another picnic. Small plans scatter joy across the calendar, turning ordinary weeks into maps with secret islands of rest. In the garden, John and Maria water and trim plants every morning. They notice that attention is a kind of sunlight, and plants like people respond to it. Anna and Daniel spend a Saturday morning at a quiet cafe. Coffee and sandwiches, a tiny garden, and time moving like a lazy river. They promise to do this more often, not because life is empty, but because it is too full. James and Lucy invite friends again for tea and stories. No one will remember the details perfectly, but everyone will remember the feeling. Maria writes new English words and practices pronunciation softly in the kitchen. "Consistency is the secret ingredient," she tells John. He nods. His notebook has taught him the same lesson. On Saturday, Michael and Emma clean the home together, and when they finish, the rooms look bigger. Nothing has changed in size, chaos has been replaced by space. Anna bakes a birthday cake for Daniel and writes his name in careful icing. "It's more than a cake," he says. He's right, it's a message. In the evening, John and Maria walk under a sky that smells like rain but decides not to fall. They talk about next month's plans, a little shelf for seedlings and a weekend museum visit. Another day, Daniel and Anna go to the market for vegetables, discussing recipes on the way home and turning planning into a shared game. Maria and John try lasagna for the first time, following the steps slowly. When they eat, they agree, learning a new dish is a way to travel without leaving the kitchen. Michael and Emma tidy the living room before guests arrive, adding a small vase of flowers because beauty doesn't need to be expensive to be real. James and Lucy plan a short trip to the hills and check the forecast. Preparation is a quiet kindness to your future self. On a weekday morning, Anna prepares a surprise breakfast for Daniel. His face looks like sunrise when he sees it. Maria and John visit a small farm with friends, learn how lettuce grows in straight green lines, and return with muddy shoes and clear minds. James vacuums while Lucy dusts. They finish faster than expected. Teamwork often feels like that. Emma tries a new soup recipe and serves it with fresh bread. Perfect comfort, Michael says. In the evening, Anna and Daniel walk around the block again, greeting the neighbor with the friendly dog. Once you find a small ritual that brings peace, repeat it without apology. Maria reorganizes the bookshelf. John approves the new order, happy that his favorite novel now sits at eye level. On Sunday, Michael and Emma visit the lake, watch rings ripple across the water when a fish jumps, and agree that nature resets the mood better than any advice. John trims bushes while Maria waters flowers. The garden looks like a promise. James writes a study plan for English. This will help manage time, Lucy says. He feels more confident just by writing it. Anna helps Daniel with grocery bags. He thanks her again. Gratitude, like exercise, works best when practiced daily. Michael teaches Emma to ride a bicycle in a quiet park. After some wobbles, she finds balance. That moment is always bigger than it looks. Anna packs sandwiches and fruit for a picnic basket. Everything's perfect, Daniel says a phrase that makes food taste better. Michael carries the bags while Emma organizes the pantry. They end with a clean list on the fridge. James starts learning chess. Patterns appear where confusion lived yesterday. Lucy plays with him and laughs when the knight surprises her. Maria wipes counters while John washes dishes. They enjoy the silence after the sound of running water. Anna and Daniel walk again at sunset. The habit is small and powerful. Emma makes tea for friends. The house smells like welcome, Michael says. Maria practices English sentences softly, John smiles. He hears improvements she can't yet hear. Anna bakes cookies again. Daniel repeats the same compliment, sincerely. Some words don't need to be original, they need to be true. James sorts books by category. Now it's quick to find things, Lucy says. Organized spaces save time and create calm. Michael tosses a bright salad for dinner. Looks like health in a bowl, Emma says. John and Maria walk the dog and feel the gentle discipline of caring for another life. Anna folds laundry while Daniel loads the washer. Shared work is lighter work. Michael and Emma visit a small farm again and learn the names of 2 goats. It makes the animals feel like neighbors. Maria reads the morning newspaper while John makes tea. They discuss a headline without argument, practicing the art of calm conversation. Anna and Daniel plant tomatoes and lettuce. Every morning, they check on them not to wake them, but to feel close. James and Lucy plan a family picnic and prepare everything the night before so the morning feels like a gift. Michael helps his child with math again, and confidence grows like a plant that finally finds the right light. Maria bakes bread. The kitchen fills with a smell that reminds us that home is a verb, something we do with our hands and attention. Anna and Daniel walk in the park at sunset as the sky learns to be orange and then purple. The day closes like a well-made book. And now we arrive at the end of our long thread of ordinary moments. Notice how your listening traveled with them: simple actions, small decisions, short dialogues, clear feelings, repeating names that became familiar, exactly how language becomes yours. If you imagined the scenes, predicted words, and noticed useful phrases, you practiced the same skills you need in real conversations. Repeat this kind of listening tomorrow, and the next day, and English will stop feeling like a subject and start feeling like a space you live in. That's the quiet transformation from learner to speaker: steady, real, and absolutely possible for you.